It's day 2 of the Noosa Mining and Exploration Conference here in beautiful Noosa, Australia. Joining me now, Mike Young, CEO of Vimy Resources. Mike, welcome to the show.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
So your company is perhaps sitting on one of Australia's largest uranium deposits, correct?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about your company before we really dive into uranium prices and where they're headed and whatnot. Tell us a little bit about the project here.
Okay, so Vimy is sitting on what's called the Mulga Rock project, which is 240 k's west of Kalgoorlie in Western Australia, which is a major mining centre. The deposit was discovered by the Japanese in the 1970s. They worked on it through the 80s and 90s and then left Australia for various reasons. The company was listed in 2008. I came on board in 2013. We recapitalized it and then really started to look at the deposit. We went through a pre-feasibility study, feasibility study. We now have all of our permits, we have all of our tenure, and we're basically mine ready.
So how much uranium do you believe is there?
So there's 90 million pounds. We use pounds for uranium because that's how we sell it. 90 million pounds, there's about 42 million in reserves, and we think that more of the resource will convert to reserves. And so there's about a 15-year mine life at about 3.5 million pounds a year.
When do you expect to be in production?
So our plan is to really get contracting done over the next, say, 9 to 12 months. And then once the contracts are done and we have the debt locked away, we would start construction. So it'd probably be around early to mid 2021.
So, you know, I know investors get frustrated with the gold price, but the uranium price is in a separate category, you know, stubbornly not moving from around, you know, the $20, $23 a pound mark here. What's it going to take for some offtake?
So the interesting thing about the uranium price is that the spot price that you see published every day is actually an arbitrage market that's thinly traded and probably manipulated. And it's not the real reflection of the sales that are going on around the world. So most uranium is sold between the producer and the utility in a private treaty or a private contract, and that's never reported. So the actual spot market's not a clearinghouse market like the LME or the gold spot price or
so what do you believe is the real price?
So we think, well, that's an interesting question because no contracts are being written right now. So in 2017, 5 contracts were written in the US, and since the beginning of 2018, nobody's written any contracts. And so there's this sort of, this no man's zone or this hiatus of contracting, and what that means is at some point when the utilities start coming back into the market to write contracts, I think those are going to be in the 50s and 60s.
You mentioned manipulation. You know, which entities do you believe are behind the manipulation of the uranium price?
I could say that, but then I'd be in trouble. But basically the way the spot price works is there's traders who are arbitrage players who basically try to buy uranium as low as possible. And then what they do is they amass enough uranium so that they literally compete with the miners. So then they actually pitch to the utilities for contracts. And so for that to work for them, there has to be an arbitrage. Now what you'll find is at the end of every month when prices seem to be settled, the price will come down. We're in the middle of the month right now, the uranium price is up. I guarantee, I'll bet you a signed dollar, that by the end of the month, the price will go down and it'll go up again. And there's obviously things going on behind the scenes.
Right.
Because it's not a clearinghouse, because the market's not a clearinghouse market, basically people can make the price what they want.
What about producers that, you know, play with the supply and scale back on supply to try and prop up the price?
Yeah, so you're talking about Kitco, Kazatomprom, Uranium, the big ones, the big 3, right? They control 60% of the world's uranium. Right. So yeah, so what's happened is the market has gone into oversupply. Kazatomprom in Kazakhstan, they really ramped up supply when the price was higher. Look, Kazakhstan's a former Soviet republic. They have a different view on economics than Western companies do. They probably went too fast, too hard, and oversupplied the market. And now we're seeing the effects of that now. But what's happening is the big companies such as Cameco cutting back McArthur River, we're seeing them cut back supply.
Right. And you think that would have moved the price?
Well, that's interesting. And you would, in a normal market where you have a normal clearinghouse, it would have. But like I said, the spot market's not a normal market.
I could talk about uranium forever. Last point here, big news coming out this morning, Trump administration announcing that they are looking at possibly imposing tariffs on uranium coming in to the US. Would that affect you?
Yeah, so that came out of an application by 2 American producers to the Commerce Department, and that's what initiated it. I think what would happen is the same thing that happened with steel and aluminum. I think Australia would be on the good side of that outcome. I think when you see that 40% of the world's uranium is coming out of Kazakhstan, which is, it's not a democracy, it's a little bit, it's a state-owned enterprise. I think, hopefully, that Australia, being the friend of America that we are, would hopefully get some latitude from the Trump administration, and that would make our deposit even worth more.
Well, Mike Young, best of luck with your project.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
ASX listed VMY.
VMY, that's correct.
Resources. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching. We'll have more for you on Kitco.com.